I think we are live on Facebook as far as I'm aware. We'll go from there.
Hi, Simon. What a surprise to see you.
I know, it feels like we haven't seen each other for a while.
Yes, good to see you again.
Hello, folks.
It's like chipmunks gathering nuts for the winter. Like we get you a lot this weekend and then you're busy and off to your regular work.
So I'm new today. Are we doing Silent Night? Because I missed the first one. I missed the one this morning.
Hi, Jennifer.
I think we're doing both, I think.
Simon, you're muted.
Can't hear you, Simon.
I muted myself. I think someone else actually muted me. I think someone else might have actually muted me, which is an interesting one. Not to worry. Yeah, we're doing In the Bleak Midwinter and Silent Night in this session. So we're doing both of those songs, and it's a launch event for both of those songs. So we will get going relatively shortly, I think.
Was it me?
I don't know who it was. No, I don't mind. I think whoever was co-hosting, one of you muted me, but that's okay. I don't mind being muted. Sometimes people would thank you for it.
I accidentally muted you while I was trying to let somebody into the room. Sorry.
Oh, no, it's no worries.
I like the little animal friends we have visiting.
Yes, looking good, our little animal friends. I'm liking it.
Adorable. Where did you find them?
Stop video, there's a little arrow.
Yep, it's one of the filters.
Use video filter. Yeah.
Yep.
Why are you not putting me on the screen?
I've got a hat on now, because that's what you want in life. Got a small hat. Can wear my COVID mask, that's all fine. As you do, isn't it? I can put my cool glasses on. You know, there's amazing things you can do. Amazing things. Who knew technology is such a wonderful thing? When it works. We'll get going in a minute or so, folks. We'll get going. So what we got? 76. Wow, that's very impressive.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is. I think we had 80 something earlier on. I think so. I think we might have topped out at about 81, 82 earlier on. So it's all right. It's good. People haven't got bored of us in one day. That's positive.
I do not know why mine is not showing me. Hello, everyone.
Carol.
If you don't have video filters on, it may well be that you've not updated Zoom. You do need to update Zoom on a regular occasion to get all the new features. It also means that Zoom actually works a little bit better when you update. If needs be, we can always put out a little video to show you how you would want to do that on a standard computer or anything like that. So, and if you're on a phone or something like that, sometimes it has slightly less functionality than if you're on a computer or a laptop or something like that. So, but we can always look at that. But yeah, it may well just be because you've got an old, not as up-to-date version of Zoom, but updates are free. So I check for updates about once a week just to make sure that I'm on the cutting edge of the technology.
Right, we're not seeing Nancy's video at all. I'm not sure if she wants us to or not.
I do want to. I want to see you all.
Yeah,
I want to see you all.
Yeah, Nancy, you just
at the bottom of your screen where it says you should see a little microphone and then a little video camera.
Correct.
Click on that video camera. It should bring up your video.
It's just got a nice big red slash through it. I'm trying to use my laptop instead of my big computer. I have probably just not.
Yeah, you should just be able to click the video thing with the right red line through it once, and it should turn on. Hopefully, if you've got a webcam on that laptop.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, it seems to not want to, doesn't it?
It doesn't want to.
Worst comes to worst, Nancy. You could always log off and come back on again. That might sometimes do it. If you go off Zoom,
I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. Thank you.
No worries at all. Okay, folks, we are going to. Oh, 1 second. I'm just going to mute everyone for a second. I am, and can my co-hosts please continue just to let people in as we get people get into the waiting room. Thank you very much, Bertie. Much appreciated. Okay, I'm just going to click record. Hopefully, yes, record. Excellent. So, welcome everybody to our launch session for In the Bleak Midwinter and Silent Night. Now, we have some honesty that is required, folks, and it's not a problem. We're not going to kick you out. Would you like to just raise your hand if you were actually at the launch event this morning? This includes music team. So if you were at the launch event this morning at 10 a.m. this morning, obviously not 10 a.m. your time if you're in America. So I'm just checking. It's not too many I can't see, which is there's a couple. That's marvelous. That's good. So that's not a problem. I am just going to say that we're generally going through the same things, but I did say earlier on at 10 a.m. that you're more than welcome to come to this launch event because it gives you a chance to be, seeing people, and it gives you also a chance to be kind of running through the song another time. And again, that is what you're going to be doing. You're not going to find any different information potentially out, but we are going to run through the thing in the same way. So for majority of you who have not already been here for a launch session, the launch session are different than our standard rehearsals. The launch session is mainly going through the song, going through the kind of scores, going through the breath points, and really kind of making sure you get a really good kickstart into learning the songs. We have 5 songs for our Christmas concert, but only 2 of them are collective only songs. That is In the Bleak Midwinter and Silent Night. So only members of the collective are able to sing Bleak Midwinter and Silent Night. The other 3 songs, the Christmas song, which is in ladies' key, O Manu Mysterium in men's key, and Happy Christmas War is Over, which is kind of mixed key, that they are open to not only all of the collective, but also any of the other groups who are with us on our Christmas concert. So that is the Quartet The Locksmiths, the Simple Tones, Tuxedo Junction, Lux Acapella, the Knighton Community Choir, are all able to also learn those 3 songs, but not these 2. Okay, so these are our songs. So if you're ever kind of thinking, am I allowed to do Happy Christmas War is Over, or is it not for me? 100% it's for you. But again, other people will be taking part in those songs, and that's why we're kind of splitting it up that way. And that's why this session is running through our 2 collective only songs, In the Bleak Midwinter and Silent Night. So we're going to go through these not quickly, but we're going to go through, and at the end of kind of going through and talking through the breath points and talking through what kind of my thoughts are as far as how I'd like to approach these songs and explaining a little bit about the songs themselves and the arrangements, we'll then do questions at the end of when we've done In the Bleak Midwinter, and then we'll do Silent Night, and then we'll do questions at the end of when I've kind of launched the Silent Night as well, if that makes sense. If you do have any questions that you want to put in as you think of them, do please use the text chat as opposed to just talking and unmuting yourself and talking. Not because I'm mean or horrible, but obviously with at the moment 85 and soon to be 86 people in, it could and we're streaming on Facebook, and this is being recorded so that people who can't make this rehearsal can watch it back. We don't want to necessarily be making them go through lots of questions at that point, because those people watching this video later on, they can maybe skip at the questions if they've kind of had the rehearsal side of it, or they can continue in listening, hoping that some of their questions get answered as well. So pop them in the chat, and one of the members of the music team who are in there at the moment, when we get to the question section, they can give me some of those text-based questions as well, and you can then stick up your hand. Okay? So we're going to get going. Now, earlier on, my computer crashed when I tried to share my screen, and what I will say to that is, that's just what happens with computers. So my computer is okay, it's nothing wrong with it, it's not old, but sometimes it just doesn't like life. So if that happens, do not worry. I will pop straight back in, and usually it sorts itself out once it's had a little temper tantrum to itself for a couple of seconds. It usually sorts itself out. So if that does happen, don't worry, I'll be back very soon. So sometimes it does do that. So I'm just going to share my screen, and we're going to start off with In the Bleak Midwinter. And there are still people popping in, so obviously we'll get going. And if my glamorous assistants, my Christmas elves with the awesome Bertie hat, can just be letting people in, that would be fab. Okay, so can you see my screen? Yes, you can. Brilliant. That's fabulous. Okay, so we are going to have an initial listen to the song while the score runs through. If you have a score with you, that's brilliant, but you can look on the screen. It has some annotations. It also has the points where you want to be breathing. Okay, obviously breathing is important. in life in general. We don't breathe, we're not going to last very long. So, but obviously with singing, we want to know where you need to breathe, etc., etc. So let's have a little bit of a listen. Can you hear my sound? Excellent stuff. You're all on mute, so you can sing along, following the information. Red lines are breaths. Read the stuff in blue and white. And we get going. Merry Christmas. Here we go. 3 and.
In the bleak midwinter, frosty wind made moan. Earth stood hard as iron, water like a stone. Snow had fallen, snow on snow, snow on snow. In the bleak midwinter, long ago, our God had cannot hold him, nor earth sustain. Heaven and earth shall flee away when he comes to reign. In the bleak midwinter, a stable place suffice. The Lord God Almighty, Jesus Christ. Angels and archangels may have gathered
All
there.
the way through this phrase.
Cherubim and seraphim
No breath.
thronged the air, but only his mother in her maiden bliss worship the beloved with a kiss.
This is nice and loud.
What can I give him, poor as I am? If I were a shepherd, I would bring a lamb. If I were a wise man, I would do my part. Yet what can I give him? Give my heart. Give my heart. Give my heart.
Okay then, folks. So I'm just going to quickly track back. You've obviously seen that, but I'm going to track back to the beginning and just very quickly go through this. If you have a score and you don't already have these breath points down, again, I've done a video relatively in the last half an hour just to show you where all the resources are, and there's more resources going to follow, including a recording of this session is also going to go in the folders. But again, if you don't have the breath points done, you can start writing those breath points down. Okay, so if we start from the beginning, the rhythmic differences in the melody are basically to be done as the guide tracks. So a lot of the time with the collective, it's the way I arrange songs, but a lot of the time it's the messages go with the guide tracks. That's kind of like the third mantra of the collective. The first is like leave no one behind. There's no such thing as a silly question. The third most commonly said thing is go with the guide tracks, which is generally the answer to most questions, okay, in life. In this case, we do generally go with the guide tracks. So there are some rhythmic things. I have tried to do the score and pick up the rhythmic stuff as close to how I sang it, but I sang it first and then I arranged it. So it's been sung by ear. So all the twiddles were what I felt like at the time, and then I've tried to write them down after the fact. Okay, so sometimes in my scores, the scores don't quite get it 100% because I had no idea what actually I was meaning to do when I did it. Okay, planning is important in life, but not in singing. So follow those rhythmic differences. We are wanting to make sure that we put consonants at the very ends of words, and that we also turn our words, the diphthong. So if you look at the word moan, you've got a turn at the end of that. You want that turn to be as late as possible on most occasions. So in the frosty wind made moan would be definitely not what we would want, because you can kind of hear it. It closes down. It sounds odd. Now that's an extreme example, but if we're sometimes a little bit kind of nervous or we don't know the song as well, you can very easily slightly try to finish the word, try and finish it, and then open the vowel back up. That would sound like this. Frosty wind made moan, when you're not sure. And that also is definitely not what we want. Okay, so try and put the N and try and turn the word relatively late, just before that breath point. And there's quite a lot of full phrases in this piece of music, as opposed to cutting those notes down quite quickly. As we iron, now obviously sometimes the question we had this morning was that in some versions of this, people sing iron. It is iron, only because I would have felt weird singing iron. I don't know why people do this. Probably a very good reason why it's, stood hard as iron, but it's iron. So just the word is, on that case, go with the tracks. Excellent. I'm aware that there's a different pronunciation. Go with the tracks and you'll be fine. Now, the guide track does not do this very well, but snow had fallen, snow on snow. We build that volume a little bit. We don't get too bombastic and big, but maybe we go from kind of like quiet to quite quiet or quite loud, but certainly it's a little increase in volume into snow on snow. But then what we do is we're actually really quiet on that repeat. The guide track does not do this, but mainly because the way the audio was recorded, the guide track of the audio doesn't have very much dynamics at all. We definitely want to put that in. So you'll notice when we look later on at the conductor tracks, I actually physically start going shush with my conducting to remind you not to be as loud on that repeat of snow on snow. Okay, so snow had fallen, snow on snow, and then snow on snow. So it's a little bit quieter. As we come to the end of the first verse, which is just altos, I want to point out that sopranos and tenors, you can sing the tune anytime you're not singing anything else. But you cannot sing it an octave down or an octave up. It has to be at the pitch. So if you are a bass and you're thinking, oh, I can sing the tune in the bleak midwinter, I'm afraid not, because it just wouldn't quite sound as I would like it. So you'll just have to wait until your harmony parts come in. But if you can sing the tune, the alto line in its pitch, you're absolutely fine to do that. It's not just an alto party. You're all invited as long as you can sing the actual notes, not the ones just an octave down. So when we come in with our God, heaven, it is that kind of heaven. It's kind of, there's not our God, heaven cannot. It's quite quick on the heaven. It's loud, but not very loud. So we're not going for really shouty big. Shouty big comes later on. We're going for kind of bright, and we're kind of proclaiming something positive. We should be light in our faces. We should be bright in our faces, and we should be smiling, and we should be wanting to kind of tell the kind of great message of the song. And therefore, it's not just about volume. It's a nice bright tone that we want to be having there. Be aware of there's some twiddles in the alto part that not always happen in the other part. So if you look at hold him, the altos, hold him, the tenors hold him and the sopranos hold him. They all have slightly different versions of how to sing the word hold him, and that is perfectly fine. So don't worry if you're not doing something the rhythm exactly the same as another part. Absolutely fine. Watch out for the suspension. The tenors and the sopranos on sustain, there's a nice little move down suspension. So if you are an alto, wait for ages until you turn that sustain into an N. So don't go quick, don't go early, because we don't want Nora sustain and sitting on an N. We wait for that suspension to move down, and then we have a little N at the end of that. Moving onwards, again, when he comes to Re, the N comes really, really, really late. So it's pretty much when he comes to Re, whoever Re is, that's who he comes to. But then you just stick an N on just before your breath point, and you're absolutely fine on that one. Again, we have sufficed. Now, the guide tracks at this point, some of the tracks don't really have the T of sufficed. Because actually, when you say sufficed, it's not a D. It more sounds like a T. But a couple of the guide tracks don't have that as audibly. That does not mean I want you to miss it out. It's just the editing of the guide track sometimes gets rid of the little T's and D's from the ends of word. So, but you want to wait for the tenor's move. So, yeah. Feist. Yeah, they have that move. Everyone else just wait. When you hear the note in the guide track move down slightly, stick that little T in on sufficed. Into the Lord God Almighty, there's twiddles. The twiddles are completely different for all the parts. They're not excessive twiddles. We're not kind of talking Christina Aguilera, Ariana Grande style twiddles. We're not going too far with this, but they are different to soprano, alto, and tenor. You all have slightly different things and different stuff going on, so just do what your part should do. And please don't take the creative decision to make up your own twiddles. That, again, would not in a large chorus like we are probably work out very well for the editing team as they try and work out how to sort all that out. When you get to the end with Jesus Christ, you wait. Again, it makes it look like the T comes quickly, but actually the Christ goes on quite a long time. It's a good full 4-beat count. But then there's this little half-beat rest. It's just a little pause before the quiet piano comes in. Be aware that if you were clicking time or you had a metronome kind of counting the tempo of this, it kind of stops for half a beat and then it comes back in. It's almost just like a little extra miniature breath. You do get the piano chord hits before Angels and Archangels comes in, so it shouldn't be an issue. It only is an issue if altos you get a bit carried away and you just start with hey, and then you'll be like and then you'll have to kind of start the note again, and again we don't want that. It needs to be really tender. Now I've used the word airy. Airy is not necessarily a bad thing. Airy is only a bad thing with your voice if you can't control that. But actually, we can add a little bit of air to the sound to give it that kind of tender feeling. It's not quite whispering. I don't want whisper singing, yeah? Angels and archangels. No, that's horrible. But just that little bit of sense of a little bit of gentleness. So it needs to be tender, just with a little bit of air and lift, as opposed to adding in huge amounts of that. It's just wanting it nice and tender is the most important thing. The only difficult phrase in this entire song to sing as far as breath points is cherubim and seraphim thronged the air. There is no breath after seraphim. You just have to go straight through on that. It's still not particularly tricky. Breathing is not one of the tricky things in this song, but that is a sing-through section. If you do struggle and you can't get all the way through that section, you're an alto, then you just need to miss out one of those words and breathe on a word, which is, as a lot of you will know, we call a ninja breath. So you can just breathe on that word and then come back in. Let me just go through. When we get to only his mother, okay, now I had to be try to be controlled in the way I sang this, but please don't get louder as you get higher. Okay, pitch and volume are not linked. They don't have to be linked. We really want only his mother. This is the point where, again, it's quiet, it's beautiful, and you go up, you don't want to be hitting that A on mother really, really loud. So you want the M and the to be the same volume, which is quite quiet. It needs to lift, but it definitely doesn't want to massively stack up in volume. Watch out for the little S in her maiden bliss. It's a little S. Don't turn it early because it's a double S. Sometimes people look at it and think, oh, I need to give more of an S here. Nope, give the littlest S you can, just a tender little caress. Be aware of your little twiddles there. Worship the beloved. Get the twiddles correct. They're not too difficult, but just be aware of them. And then there is another small S on Kiss, which is in the conductor track. I give you that small S so you don't have to worry too much. When we get to what can I give him, you'll notice that if you look at how I've done the words in the score, the T is on top of the C. So it's what can. So the T, the easiest way of doing this is putting the T on the beginning of the word can. So it's what can. That will help you out a little bit. It's loud. So I don't mind you being loud, but as we said, I found out it was John Grant who said this, and other people told me, was that never louder than beautiful. So I want loud. I want you to be loud, and I want you to be really happy and smiling and really kind of positive, and it will be loud. The guide tracks are pretty loud, but it's not. It never really should go into shouting. It should never be 10 and 10 out of 10 on the volume scale. It should be as loud as you can sing with the right kind of quality, with the right kind of tone for your voice, okay? Some of you will have louder voices than others, not a problem at all. Just go as much as you feel comfortable and sell the song. 1 second. Keep the positive energy going. So when you hit to I would bring a lamb, is when sometimes if you're giving too much, you'll know, because by the time you hit I would bring a lamb, you'll start feeling it. If you're giving too much, if you're actually going beyond the louder than beautiful, you'll feel it when you get to I would bring a lamb. You'll be like, oh, wow, this is difficult. At that point, you want to actually not be singing that phrase as loud as you possibly have been. Okay, so it's all about learning what your voice can do. Wise man, that does definitely pick up in volume. If I were a wise man, it just is that. Especially if you're a soprano, it does tend to go up there in the volume stakes. Okay, and again, as I'm going through, you can obviously see all those breath points there as I'm kind of taking you through this. Again, waiting for the T on part. There's a suspension in the bottom tenor line, so I would do my part. It's a really small T, as late as you can. Wait for you can hear on the guide track when the tenors have their move, and you'll be absolutely fine. We have another little twiddle section here. Tenors, you actually get the only twiddle in the entire song that you get at this point is in this thing, give him. Okay, it's the only time. So enjoy it, have fun with it, but don't then do it in all the earlier versions and then do the same twiddle and just say, oh, I like that twiddle, I'll do it every time. Definitely not what we want. Okay, there's more twiddles as we go through this song. As it gets more emotional and it kind of picks itself up and builds in intensity, we add a few more twiddles as we go. Okay, when we hit the last little part, which I suppose I'd call a tag because it is a little bit protracted, it does drag itself out a little bit. Give my heart, wait for this is a lot of, I don't use the word push, but you're actually kind of moving towards heart. You're growing through the heart, put the T into, and then give my heart. And then give, there is a breath point that I forgot to put in after the word give. And in fact, not only is there a breath point, there's actually a stop in the music. You actually physically stop singing at that point. Give my heart. So it's like a really kind of slightly over the top. Some may say a little bit, a little bit crass, but I like it. That you get a stop and then the my heart. So you really lower the dynamic after that second heart there into give, waiting, my heart. And then you're given the T by the conductor. And actually the T comes after you stop singing the note. So if I sing that note, the T comes actually, if I was to look at that in like a spectrogram thing, the note finishes, and slightly after the note finishes, the T is placed. This is because we're such a large group and we may well have a few hundred people putting tracks in. It's a lot easier to place the T after the note has finished rather than trying to get to that point and sticking it directly on the end of the note. But also I actually prefer the sound of this because actually it finishes this song quietly. It finishes quietly and tenderly, just as it began. Okay? So, I am going to quickly go, well, not quickly go through, it's not going to be quickly, but I'm going to go through it nonetheless. I'm not going to go through the alto part. I think this is the alto video. Yeah, this is I think the alto video, but we're not going to go through the alto video because it is the tune and because the alto part is audible on all the other parts as well. Okay, so we are going to go through and we're going to start off with, I think this is a soprano one. Yeah, we're going to start off and we're going to actually go through with the guide track with the score for the soprano part. If you are a soprano, obviously sing along. If you are an alto, what you want to do is try and sing your tune and see how you do. If you're a tenor, exactly the same. Don't worry if you get a little bit lost. We've got a fair old while to be rehearsing this. There's lots of rehearsal sessions to come. This is just a launch, so we're just getting ourselves. And you may not even have chosen which part you want to sing yet, or you might be thinking you might want to do a couple of them. So this is your chance to audition yourself to see which vocal part suits you the best. Let's have a listen to our soprano part. All hear that okay? Spot on. Remembering that you can all sing the tune if you can hit those notes in the correct octave. We'll go from there. 2, 3, 4.
In the bleak midwinter, frosty wind made warm, us stood hard as iron, water like a stone. Snow had fallen, snow, 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 in the bleak midwinter, long ago.
Loud but not too much.
Oh God, and cannot hold him, nor earth sustain. Heaven and earth shall flee away when he comes to reign. In the bleak midwinter, a stable place
Wait for the
affords the Lord God Almighty, Jesus
Hold it.
Christ.
Place.
Angels and
So kind of see that there's that little half-beat rest.
may have gathered
Slightly different rhythm to the tune this time through.
cherubim and seraphim
Don't breathe.
enthroned the air,
Control your volume.
but only his mother in her maiden bliss worshiped
And be ready, folks. No louder than beautiful, though. Here we go.
What can I give him? Poor as I am. If I were a shepherd, I would bring a lamb. If I were a wise man, I would do my part.
Good stuff, folks. Now, straight off the back of that, we are going to have our tenor part. Okay? This is especially for our tenors in the room. I like the tenor part in this song. Yeah, like the tenor part in this song. Again, you can sing the tune. Sopranos, you've just been through your part. See if you can hold on to that part for a little bit. That's all what rehearsal is. Altos, you're still just singing the tune. Tenors, you can sing the tune. You just need to sing it in the correct octave. Good luck. Here we go. Smile. Don't turn it. N. Building the volume on snow. And then quiet again. Kind of reflective. Good stuff. Here we go.
A God cannot hold him, nor
Enjoy the suspension.
sustain. Heaven and earth shall flee away when he comes to reign. In the bleak midwinter, a stable
Enjoy the suspension.
suffice. The Lord God Almighty, Jesus
Hold, 2, 3, 4,
Christ.
T. Good stuff, folks.
May have gathered there. Cherubim and
Don't breathe. Straight through.
enthroned the air, but only his mother in her maiden bliss worshiped the
Now, if you're a tenor and you can't sing the tune, just look forward to this bit. Really enjoy the squeezes, folks. Here we go. And
What can I give him? Poor as I am. If I were a shepherd, I would bring a
1, 2, 3, breathe.
if I were a wise man, I would do my part. Yet what I cannot give him,
Twiddle.
give my
1, 2, 3, breathe.
give my
Move through the note. 3, and chill.
give
Breathe.
my
Holding that note. Holding it still. And a T. Good stuff, folks. Very, very good stuff. I have to say, I'm watching quite a few of you on the screen, not in a bad way, I mean. There's already some really nice faces, like really nice kind of, as you're singing through, there's some really nice kind of open, kind of relaxed faces. So that's already a positive start. Again, and don't worry if you're looking at your music, I'm not judging on whether you're off score at the moment. It's a launch event, you don't have to be off score. But those of you who might be, then well done. Those people might be the ones who are singing the tune, but you never know, they might have just put lots of work in so far. I didn't do this earlier, but we're actually doing a little bit better for time. So sometimes the video is a little bit laggy at this point, but I'm going to actually give us one more go through the whole thing, but with the conductor track. So this is just me waving my arms around. Some people find this useful. Some people contact me and tell me that they can give me conducting lessons if I require them at a reasonable fee. But some people do find them useful. So again, if we find them useful, let's go from there. So let's have a listen. Don't worry, the original video that you have access to is not laggy. So this undoes its zoom. Got to breathe in, breathe out. So breathe in and breathe out. When you're doing your recording, you'll need to remember to breathe because it all gets a bit stressful. Here we go. Follow the bearded man.
In the bleak midwinter, frosty wind made moan. I stood hard as iron, water like a stone. Snow had fallen, snow on snow, snow on snow. In the bleak midwinter, long ago, our Godhead cannot hold him, nor earth sustain. Heaven and earth shall flee away when he comes to reign. In the bleak midwinter, a stable place suffice. The Lord God Almighty, Jesus Christ. Angels and
Ooh, mute yourself, please, someone. We can hear you singing.
gathered there.
It was lovely, though.
Cherubim and seraphim thronged the air, but only his mother in her maiden bliss worship the beloved with a kiss. What can I give him, poor as I am? If I were a shepherd, I would bring a lamb.
Yeah, give it some.
If I were a wise man, I would do my part. Yet what can I give him? Give my heart. Give my heart.
Wait for the conductor if you can still see it. Hold it and watch. And I try to give it nice and clearly at that point. And well done. Okay, and you even get a blown kiss. So whether you wanted me to blow a kiss at you, you got a blown kiss, regardless of whether you wanted it or not. I'm sorry. I should have let you know that I was going to kiss you at the end of that run through. I apologise for not letting you know that. It was a virtual kiss, though. It was meant to be love. Now, that is our kind of initial stuff on in the bleak midwinter. So what we're going to do is we're going to open it for kind of questions or things you may have picked up on. There may have been some things in the chat which obviously music team members can pick up on. Interesting enough, we're at 96 at the moment, and when I just checked, I think we have about 25 to 30 people watching on Facebook. So it's a good job of doing that, because not everyone would fit in the room. So that's a positive thing for a starter. So well done us for having lots of people here. So, what questions do we have? You'll probably have to either pop it in the chat or pop your hand up. So, Tanya first has her hand up.
Not very often, hey. Anita Platt is asking, angels or angels? What do you want?
I think it's angels.
I
don't think it's angels. I think angels are like angels. Yeah, it's more gels. I think it's more gels that I sing.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah. Carolyn Cooper?
Thank you, Simon. Just wondered, is it okay for this song? Can we add a little bit of vibrato? It's hard for me to sing this song without any.
That's absolutely fine. Yeah, this is not barbershop. So again, we want, and in similar way to with You've Got a Friend in Me, those of us who did You've Got a Friend in Me, we wanted you to sing with your voices. I'm perfectly fine. If you have a natural vibrato to your voice, please don't try and change that. But I would also say, please don't anyone try to add additional. We just want your natural voices, and that's absolutely fine. If you have vibrato, don't be doing anything to your voice to try and get rid of it in this song. It's not required.
Thank you.
No worries. I'm just looking for any other hands at the moment. Or music team. Rhiannon.
And Taryn says, if we sing the tune with the altos, we just include it all in the same recording, or do we need to make two separate, make that a separate part from our own main part?
Just the same recording. Just the same recording. Yeah. Now, those of you who've done Collective before, the editing we will be able to do for these Christmas songs will be significantly less. It will basically be putting them into a track, and it won't be any syncing or really any pitching. It will be putting them in, and we will sound as we sound, and that's absolutely fine. And I'm perfectly confident to say that's what's going to happen, because obviously deadlines on these are in December, and that probably gives us 5 songs and about an equivalent of about a week to edit 5 entire songs, including videos. So there's not going to be the same kind of editing process gone through, and that's absolutely fine. So yeah, I would say it's absolutely fine to include it on one track, and that's absolutely fine. Rhiannon.
There's also a question from Debbie Toy. Any count at the beginning? I mean, I know the answer, but you know.
There isn't a count at the beginning. Because of the piano part, there is no real need for a count. What I normally do, and again, anyone else who's doing editing as well with me on this one, I'd probably tell them that I'll find a part probably when all the first time the harmony parts are all together, and we'll sync it from there, and therefore the front will be in the correct place, so you don't have to do a count. There's no real ideal place to count because of the piano backing track anyway. So in the Bleak Midwinter does not need a count. You just listen to the guide track and sing. Can I just ask a favour though? Please, can you listen to the guide track and include your recording from when you press record and listen to the piano? Any of you who have a little bit of technological know-how, please do not edit off all the beginning of silence. We never mind silence. It's a lot easier to have the silence so we have a general idea. So please don't try and edit the front and the end. If you know how to use Audacity or audio software, please don't do anything with it. Just send it at raw as it is, and we can do everything from there. Rhiannon again. I'm going with Rhiannon because she has they're not her questions, they're others, and then we'll go to hands up. Yes, Rhiannon.
Rachel Llewellyn says, alto line, can I just check the rhythm on bar 49 is definitely even quavers, because I think everywhere else is dotted. Just asking.
Yeah, 1 second. Just let me quickly check that. Alto, we say.
Yeah.
What bar again?
49.
49. Yes, it is. It is straight quavers. So, apologies. What can I give? Is that, and the sopranos. What can I give? Yeah, so it is correct. I did the score for this, and I actually questioned myself on that, but it is actually straight quavers, not dotted. For the only time in the song, I obviously just went for that. It sounds okay, though. So, yes, it is exactly as written on the score at that point. Good question, though. Rhiannon.
Also another one from Donna. Measures 64 and 68. Is the first note on heart more of a grace note, not a long a value as the second note?
Bars 64 and 68.
68, yeah.
In all parts. Yeah, they are. Yeah, it is a little great, kind of a grace note, but it's enough to be written as a note. So it's not, give my heart. It's kind of more that than give my heart, which would be more of a grace note. So it is still the note that's written. It's just probably a little bit longer than a grace note, than like a pickup note. So it's just got a little bit more. It's almost just like a little pulse. Heart. It's got da da. It's like a little trampoline note from one into the other. Is how I'd explain it. Let's take some hands up. If there's hands up questions at this, folks, we'll go to the hands up. Dorothy Tenor Dodie.
Totally all wrong. I'm not even singing tenor in this song. I'm singing alto. But I am a bass, really. I'm really a bass, but anyhow. When at the beginning of the song with the piano, I can tell when you're getting close to where we start singing, you slow down a bit. The piano playing?
Yes.
So that's what I go by.
Yeah, it definitely does. It does slow a little bit. The piano playing is about as well as I can play the piano. I'm not a piano player, but I do slow down and speed up a little bit. So again, there's not any specific set tempo. I kind of go with the flow a little bit. Yeah. Oh, thank you very much. Any other questions, folks? I'm just looking. Obviously, there's a lot of you. There's 98 now, so we've only got one person more that we can actually get into a session. But is there any other questions at the moment on this that we haven't yet covered? Janice Morales Hill, please.
How many measures in the intro?
8.
My assumption is 8. Yeah, I think it's 8. Yeah, 8.
Thank you.
I'm just looking for some hands, just in case there are any. But I think we've. Oh, Jeannie Soprano.
Just probably one dumb question. What's a twiddle?
It's not a dumb question at all. Mantra rule number 2: there is no such thing as a silly question.
That's right.
When I say twiddle, that is that kind of little like ornamentation, decoration, something where instead of just doing a note, it might go that kind of thing. The little kind of ornamentation, little decoration. I call them twiddles. So apologies, maybe it's a UK thing, or maybe it's just a me thing. But yeah, so when I say twiddles, that's when you've got those little rhythmic things where you're kind of going around a note, above and below that note. You could call them mordants or trills or turns or all these kind of different things, but I just call them twiddles. I'm a music teacher. I should call them the proper name, but I just call them twiddles.
Thank you.
Any other? I'm just keeping an eye. And I think we're all right. Oh, no, Connie Ludwig. I just caught you there.
Yeah, not a question. In America and barbershop, we call them tiddlies.
Oh, tiddlies. Yeah, tiddlies and twiddlies. Yeah, tiddlies. But yeah, because I could probably work out. I could work out what officially they were called, but then people will be asking me. It's like, if I try and start explaining aciacaturas and apodulaturas, people start scratching their head at me. So I think tiddlies is nice, and tiddlies and twiddles, I think we're okay with that. Name my new quartet. It'll be called Tiddly and Twiddles. I'm not sure which one I'll be, but we'll work it out. So, folks, I think we are okay on that. Now, I'm just going to quickly press stop on the recording so that basically I can upload this in the Bleak Midwinter folder, and then I will restart again. For Silent Night. What I'm going to do, and I didn't do this earlier, is I'm going to say if you want to quickly grab a sip of a drink, I'll give you about 30 seconds until I start Silent Night. So just grab yourself a quick sip of a drink or something, stretch your legs. You literally have 30 seconds before I get bored of the silence. So 30 seconds, and we will then go through Silent Night in a similar way, although it's a different song, so it'll have a slightly different way to it. Here we go. Just load up my PowerPoint. Excellent stuff. Whew. Cool. I think I've given about a minute. Good stuff. Okay, then. I'm going to press record again, folks. So I am recording again, and we'll go through Silent Night. So in the Bleak Midwinter, as we said, it has a certain feel to it. I arranged it for some students, 2 girls and a boy at my school last year, and I arranged it for them. They were just great singers, and they had that kind of style. So it was arranged kind of for their vocal style. But again, some of my arrangements I listen to back like a year later, and I go, what on earth was I thinking? That's awful. This one I actually listened back to and went, oh, I like that. It's like, it's simple. It's relatively simple. It's not overly complicated, but it gets the message of the song, and some of the harmonies are quite nice without it being too difficult to get through in like the collective as we are at the moment, in kind of like 4 weeks. Because obviously that was something to think about, was what can we manage in 4 weeks. So obviously we could have done 1 really difficult song, or we could have done 5 not so difficult songs, although some of them are quite difficult. But don't worry, we'll get there together. So let's begin on Silent Night. I'm going to share my screen again, and hopefully it doesn't crash this time. I've been lucky so far this evening, but touch wood, I'm going to be lucky again. Here we go. I'm pressing my share screen. And we should see. Can you see my screen? Okay, we're going to go with that, and we'll do what we can. Now, we'll do exactly the same thing. We're going to have an initial run-through, Silent Night, initial run-through with the score. This is not arranged by me. Stuart Sides arranged this arrangement a while back, and I was lucky enough to sing it 5-6 years ago, and it was absolutely gorgeous. So I asked him if we could have permission. I actually asked him how much it would cost to get the arrangement, and very kindly he said that we could have it for absolutely nothing at all. Which is unbelievably kind of him. So thank you to Stuart for being able to sing this beautiful arrangement of this song. So let's go through the score. It has some markups. We'll do the same thing. We'll run through it, and then I'll track back and kind of explain some of the choices. But it's always good to have a little sing through. It is slow, this one, folks, so be aware that some of your breath points, you're going to have to, you'll be okay. Here we go. All hear that okay? Brill. gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous arrangement. It's good. I actually quite like doing an arrangement that I didn't arrange because I can say it's gorgeous, because I can't say my arrangements are gorgeous because that sounds really egotistical. Yeah, it's like, but this is gorgeous. I absolutely love it. So I'm just going to track back. Oops, daisy. Oops, daisy. I will need to modify that. 1 sec. Just give me 2 seconds. When clicked on, don't play across slides. Yes, great stuff. First thing, put the T on the beginning of night. So again, silent night. Again, similar to the Takan in the Bleak Midwinter, same thing applies. T into the silent night. It is slow, so we're wanting to put that T, again, same thing with the diphthongs in night. We're really maximizing that really nice vowel. So I'm going to sing it an octave down. So silent night. And it's really late that we turn the night. You've got that 3 little sounds that you can make. Turn it late, please. When we get to all is calm, all is bright, there's no breath in between calm and all. So really go through that phrase, let it grow. The bung. Now, it's not written in the score, but the C here in the alto 2-part and in the tenor 2-part, they actually sing the word bung. Okay, it's really soft. It's like a little bell ringing. Bung. Okay, so we need to wait for the bung. So if you are a soprano, an alto 1, a tenor 1, or a bass, you wait to hear that bung, and it goes on a little bit longer than you would imagine. Okay, and I'll show you the bung later on in one of the guide videos. We have some really tricky tuning when we get into round yon virgin, especially in the alto part. Actually, you've got some really interesting movements. Sounds delightful and beautiful, but it is quite tricky to tune. So you'll be wanting to actually go through some of the tricky bits and playing through the guide track a number of times over the same section. So actually going through like those few bars there, round yon virgin, and then running through it again with your part to really work out those intricacies of those chords, because chords like this sound beautiful when they're tuned well. And when they're not tuned, we want them to sound like a beautiful chord that's a little bit clashy, as opposed to, oh, they've sung that chord out of tune. There is a definite difference between that, so you want to spend the time on that. On the word child, the chord itself, to me, sounds like melted chocolate. There's a visual image for you, but to me, it's a gorgeous chord. And actually, it's char, as in like a cup of char. It's that char. Or there's a fish, I think, called a char. But it's not chai. It's not chai, it's char. So you basically sing char for a long time, and then you just at the end go child, just at the end, really late on. So you just go for that char, that nice, really kind of almost airy, kind of warm sound. It actually, the guide track sounds quite warm. The voice has got a little bit of air to it, and it's quite warm sounding. So go with that. And again, very late on that change of that word, char-e-uld. The e-uld comes really late on as one little sound at the end of that before your breath point. When we hit into the infant, okay, it's similar in notes to the previous one where we had round yon virgin, but it's not exactly the same. And we have a breath point in the middle of it. So you get really nice infant, so tender. So be aware that there's a breath point there. It doesn't just run through like the previous phrase. When we get into tender and mild, and the guide track does this because I enjoy singing this, I think you can tell in the guide tracks that I'm enjoying myself, probably why I made it so slow, but I am really enjoying these chords. So when you get into the chord on mild, enjoy the squeeze of the chord. In the video guide track, you can actually see that the chord is really, the 3 bottom notes are all just stacked up notes right next to each other, and it gives this really nice close squeezing harmony. You want to learn to embrace and enjoy that, but also knowing that if you're an alto, you're above the soprano. So actually the alto is the highest voice part at that point, and they're above the soprano, and never worry about that. The video guide tracks are very useful for showing you where that happens. When you get Sleeping Heavenly, the highest note in the song is that E flat on Hev. I want the volume of Sleep in Heavenly Peace. The line about sleeping means that we're talking about a lullaby. So when you hit that E flat sopranos, I do not want the stereotype of a soprano in a standard church choir where they're quiet when it's low and they're unbelievably loud and piercing when it gets into the high stuff. So I really want you to aim to go really, so there's no real difference in heavenly. Those notes should all be the same volume. And if you look at that, you're going from an E flat to a C into an A. All of them really should be the same volume. It shouldn't be like heavenly. It shouldn't be that hair is really, really loud. So it's not easy. I can barely sing that note, so I'm not really the one to necessarily tell you how to do it. But again, we're really looking for that really nice, lifted, light, beautiful sound, as opposed to adding in some muscle just to try and get onto that top note. Everybody needs to wait for the alto to move. The little alto to move here. Wait for them to move, and then enjoy that chord. And then when we get near the end, heavenly, it's not written in, but we actually have words. If you are an alto 1 or a tenor, you actually have the words heavenly peace. Okay, so the P comes in first. So you get P, and then afterwards, heavenly peace. Obviously, I'm singing it an octave down, which, by the way, no, you're not allowed to do in this song, but I'm not going to attempt to sing the soprano part at the moment. That would not be good for any of our ears. But yeah, so you'll listen to this and you'll hear it. You get a really nice, the P comes in, which are kind of is just a spread octave all on that B flat. Everyone's just singing 3 octave B flats, and then heavenly peace comes in as that harmony. Okay? And the S comes, much like in the Bleak Midwinter, after you've finished singing the note. So it's peace. And the S comes just slightly after you've finished singing that note. And again, it just kind of sits there and you'll be fine. Okay? So, I'm going to quickly, not quickly, I keep on saying quickly, and I don't ever mean quickly. Ever, ever, ever mean quickly, because there's no way I can make the song go faster than it already does. Okay, the all parts video. Yes, I will do the all parts video. The videos for this song are not instead of, but there isn't going to be a conductor track for this song, because actually it is much easier to follow this video than it would be for me to make a hash of a conductor video. This song is so slow. And therefore, again, normally, if I was conducting this in a live choir, I would actually conduct all those slowdowns. I'd conduct all those things, like, because I would be feeling the music and you'd be following me. But actually, it's really difficult to conduct this song because I have to conduct the previous performance that I did myself, and I don't listen to myself. Me of the past doesn't listen to me of the future, unfortunately. So the guide video is a really useful thing. Okay, you can see the different colours. So the green there is the soprano, that bluey kind of colour is the alto, the tenor one is there, and again the bass is down in red. So I'm just going to play this, and you can try and kind of follow it through, and you can actually see where the breath points, some of the breath points are. You can see where one of your parts, kind of, if you're a tenor, you can see where you're above the alto, or alto where you're above the soprano, and you can visually see that. It's actually a really useful thing. So I'm just going to press play on this, and we'll just run through with our guide track. Obviously, there's no words on this, but you need to know the words of Silent Night, and then you can use the guide videos. Are really, really useful. If you don't know the words of Silent Night, that's okay. Some of you will do, though. Here we go. If it's laggy, don't worry. The original isn't. Follow that. And there's the bungs. Yeah, there's the bungs. Okay, so for me, the guide videos there are going to be much more useful, okay, because it shows you, and again, if it was a little bit laggy for you, the actual video is really nicely in time with the tracks and everything, and it works really well to kind of tell you when you need to come in, when you need to stop, etc. So I'm just going to go through, I'm not going to go through the soprano part because it's the tune. So I did it to the altos last song, I'm going to do it to the sopranos this time. I'm assuming that a lot of you will know the tune of Silent Night. I'm just making that assumption. If you've never heard Silent Night before, well, it's a beautiful new song. I composed it just earlier on today. Yeah, definitely it's mine. Definitely not mine. So I'm just going to skip the soprano video and I'm going to go to the alto 1 video. Now you will notice that when you get into your videos, the alto 1 part is now nice and bright blue, so you can really nicely visually follow your part. So you can just follow the alto 1 part and it's really nice and clear where your part is. Okay? I'm just going to press play and we can literally just go through the alto 1 part. I'm not going to go through every single one. I'm going to do alto 1, tenor 2 and then bass, because obviously the alto parts do split, but they also are quite similar to one another. So I'll just only play 1 alto and 1 tenor, but you have access to these tracks as well, folks, so you can be having a look at them. Here we go. So alto 1s. Again, try and sing your part over it, folks. Tuning there. Enjoy this. You're the highest part. Wait for the P. Follow the line. Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. So again, I find these video tracks, even as a music reader, I actually really quite enjoy the video tracks. I find them quite useful for my own learning when they exist. So the tenor 2 part is in pink. Okay, so you can definitely see the tenor 2 part here. So we're just going to go through the tenor 2 part. It has the bung. So you can kind of hear that the bung in the alto 2 and the tenor 2 both basically is really quite softly done, and it's quite warm and kind of almost hooded. It's kind of, instead of bung, it's bong. So it's slightly it's kind of nasal and through your nose and as soft as you can make it. Imagine if you have a bell, a hand bell, and you kind of cover it in kind of like a duvet. It's, do you know what I mean? It's kind of, it still goes bong, but it's not got any of the brightness. It's just really soft and muted. Okay, like a muted bell. So let's have a listen to our tenor 2 part with the bung. Gotta love the bung. Here we go. Really try and stick those phrases together. Notice all those breaths. There's a real nice phrasing to it. You want to get the whole overarching phrase. There you go. There's your bung. Enjoy that note. Love it, love it, love it. Wait for the P. And it's just a lovely arrangement. Just a lovely arrangement. So that's the bung. You kind of hear that. You can hear it, but it's definitely not bung. It's not like out there. It's definitely, it's quite nice and kind of warm. So let's just go through the bass parts. Now, I like the bass part in this song. There is one part in this song where the bass part, it's a proper men's bass part, I would say. Some of you might be able to be on the B flats and stuff, but it's quite low. Again, if any ladies can do this, I love a lady bass. That's very impressive if you can. But again, enjoy the bass part, but please let's not try and make it sound bassier than it already is. Actually, so it's warm, but I don't want you to kind of add additional muscle and fatness, should I say. So if that's the first note, we certainly don't want silent night. That's not what I'm after, okay? So we're just going to give, just give it some niceness. Here we go. Here's the bass part. Sopranos, altos, tenors. See if you can sing your part over the bass part. It's actually quite fun, duetting with the bass. Warm, but not Yorpy. Phrasing. Sink into it. Oh, that's the one. Enjoy. This is a real screwdriver. Tighten it. Keep that tuning. Good stuff. Float. There we go. Tricky one. And if any of the basses want to drop the octave on this note, feel free. Fancy singing a B flat 0, then that's absolutely fine if you want to drop it on that. B flat 0, I'm perfectly fine with that, folks. I'm fine if you want to do that. Feel free.
I'm a bass, but that's pretty darn low. I can go low.
Yeah, it's pretty darn low for me as well. I have to say that I have to make sure that I do bass parts early in the morning because I have to say I'm not a natural bass.
I love bass.
Yeah, I do love bass. I wish I was one. It's just going to stop sharing my screen, folks. Okay, now there is crunchiness in that piece of music. It is gorgeous. I absolutely love it. It is purposely slow. So obviously, I think we'd miss out on all those lovely harmonies if we did it at the standard kind of tempo. So again, I didn't just accidentally, like, you know, accidentally slow it down. It is the kind of that's the pace we want it. It actually means you can really enjoy some of those chords and actually really enjoy tuning some of those chords. So hopefully you like that version of Silent Night. I love it. If you don't like it, well, I love it, and that's what we're doing. So what are you gonna do? Nothing. That's what you're gonna do. So has anyone got any questions at this juncture about Silent Night? Anything you've picked up on? Any questions that you do have? It's by the way, this is a gorgeous arrangement to sing live. It is lovely to sing live, but it will be lovely to hear the version 23rd of December, 7 o'clock UK time, when we actually have the concert kind of being streamed on YouTube. I am really looking forward to hearing what this one sounds like, because it is lovely, lovely, lovely. One question I've just seen from Jackie Thompson Mercer. When after the launch session, so after this weekend of the launch sessions, In the Bleak Midwinter and Silent Night will be rehearsed separately as separate rehearsals. So you'll be able to attend rehearsals for In the Bleak Midwinter and different rehearsals for Silent Night, and then different rehearsals for the different languages of Silent Night. And you'll also be able to attend ones for the Christmas song, Chestnuts Roasting on Open Fire, that is, Happy Christmas War is Over, and O Magnum Mysterium, if you want to. Luis Morales, you have a question about the languages of Silent Night. There will be information going out on that. I won't go through it all now. They are being confirmed. At the moment, we're looking maybe about 11 or 12 different languages. We are just putting in place people to teach the pronunciations of those languages. One thing I will be very clear is that we're only singing the different languages on the melody of the tune. So on the melody, we're not doing all the different languages with the harmony. We're just singing the melody line. But what we're all going to do is sing the harmonies to an oo. So you're going to submit 2 recordings. One, which is your part with your English lyrics. The second is exactly the same notes, but to an oo. And what we'll do is we'll take the oo, all your different oos, and then we'll put the recordings people send in of the different languages, which you can all take part in. If you can't make every session and you don't have time to do Finnish and Swedish and German and French and Portuguese and Japanese and Hawaiian, and there's lots of languages, if you don't have time to learn all of them, we'll basically be taking the recordings of those who do and putting it on top of the oo harmonies, and that then we'll basically make a larger song out of that. So if that makes sense. But there will be more information on Silent Night languages coming out relatively soon. We're just confirming the session times and the dates. And as soon as that is confirmed, it will be launched out to you. And then you'll be able to attend those sessions. All of those sessions will be recorded. So even if you can't make the time, if the time doesn't suit you, you'll be able to watch that session back, which will be about not teaching the harmony parts. It will be about just about teaching how to sing the melody in that language. Are there any questions that we've noticed, music team, in the chat earlier on? Or anybody else have any questions? Judy Pugh.
My question is, sometimes there's 5 notes in a chord.
Yeah.
I'm not hearing a track that addresses that. Am I confused?
When you say there's some chords where I think there's possibly even 6 notes in a chord. I think there might be some where there is 6. Yeah, the end is a 6-note chord. Yes, there is, because there's the soprano and the bass only have 1 part. And then there is an alto 1 and 2, tenor 1 and 2. A lot of the time, alto 1 and 2 are doing the same thing, but they do split. So you actually have the alto 1 part does the upper part of the alto 2 does that, and they are all in the tracks, and they're all there. So I didn't play the videos of all of them. I only played alto 1 and tenor 2, but there are videos for alto 2, and there is a video for tenor 1, and there are tracks for all of them that you can therefore listen to. So they do exist, and they are on the track. And
okay,
yeah,
I just missed it then.
Yeah, no, not a problem at all. They are all there. I didn't want to necessarily run through for the few note changes and sit through 2 lots of alto and 2 lots of tenor, and they're very similar with some very nice changes. Other questions, folks?
Yes.
Carla.
Yes, it's a follow-up. I think it's a follow-up on this split in measure. I don't know. Well, the piece one that has actually the stem goes up. This is not a soprano. A second soprano is just the up, or should have a step down, right?
Yeah. So basically, on that point, there isn't a measure. You're correct, but on the piece, I'll just quickly show my screen, and I've got it on at the moment. I'll just show my screen so you can see this bit here. I'm assuming is what you're referring to. Now, therefore, the alto 1 part from the F moves up to the A flat. The soprano just holds the B flat on piece, while the alto 1 moves up, the alto 2 moves down. So that's what happens. The alto 1 takes that A flat. The stem is incorrectly put there. The stem of that A flat should actually be going downwards. The sopranos do just sing the B flat and just hold on that B flat as a piece. The alto 1s take that A flat. Is that okay? Great stuff. Tenor Don, I can see you waving your hand.
Thanks, Simon.
Hello.
Does it matter on places where there's tenor 1 and tenor 2, where they're stacked and you've got 5 or 6 notes, as the other lady explained? Is it going to matter whether I sing the tenor 1 or the tenor 2 note?
No, you can 100% choose which one you're doing. All I would ask is that if you sing tenor 1, you sing all the tenor 1 notes, and if you sing tenor 2, you sing the tenor 2 notes, as opposed to choosing whether you go up and down and kind of doing like a half tenor 1, half tenor 2. Like I think I'll go up this time. Oh, that time I'll go down, because then you'll do like a hybrid version that might be tricky to edit. So yeah, as you can pick tenor 1 or tenor 2 depending on which one you prefer. And that's absolutely fine. And actually, it's true for any of you folks that if you wanted to submit a recording for all of tenor 1 and all of tenor 2, we'd love you to do that. That's absolutely fine. If you want to do both, that's brilliant, because we want a balance of parts of those. You do not have to, but if you want to, if you're an alto or a tenor and you want to do both of those, it's absolutely fine.
I was going to ask that question, if we could do more.
Yes, Joey, you can. Yeah, you can do more than one part. And actually, if you could sing the alto part and the tenor part, that's absolutely fine as well. In any of the songs we're doing, you can do more than one part. I said it today, but actually, what I'd like to say is that you can do more than one part in any of the songs. But actually, what we want first and foremost is for people to be able to learn as many of the songs as possible. So I'd prefer you to put one track in for all 5 of the songs, rather than, for example, do 2 of the parts in The Bleak Midwinter and 3 of the parts of Silent Night, but then not have you in the other songs at all. But that would just be my preference. But again, I'm not going to go around and tell you what you can and can't do above and beyond that. So yeah, you can do multiple parts, and then obviously learning any of those songs that you want. Is that James Johnson? James Johnson?
Trisha. Yeah, it's my husband.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's fine.
Trisha. It's Trisha.
Hello, Trisha.
Hello. Those who are singing in the secondary language, whether it's Swedish or whatever it is, are they singing in the soprano range because they're singing the melody?
No, they're singing soprano, and that's the only bit that's an octave, could be an octave down. So that's just the melody in whatever octave suits their voice.
Got it.
But yeah, but it's just the tune, and yeah, that's absolutely fine. So melody and octave down is fine. I'm not sure we're going to get the basses singing up in the soprano range, or to be frank, some of the altos probably would be particularly not wanting that E flat either. So yeah, it can be whatever octave people want that's there. Connie Ludwig.
All right, thank you.
So, how do we record the language session?
What
I'm
going to
send in three.
Yeah, you'll send in however many languages you'll do different recordings of you singing just the one verse. It's just the first verse we're doing in those different languages, and you'll send them all through, and that's what we'll do. Yeah. Hopefully when we listen to it, we'll work out which language you're singing.
So my internet was acting up. I didn't hear if you said part for Silent Night, if we can do like bass and tenor if we wanted to.
Yes, of course you can. Yes. Yes, you can. Yeah. And I'm just quickly flicking through. Oliver.
Oliva, but pretty
Oliva,
close.
sorry. Yes,
That's
Oliva.
okay. I like it the way it sounds like that too. Okay, I somehow printed out for the Silent Night. I don't know what I printed out. It's this light brown paper. It's like it's not.
Oh.
It's like I don't know, and it says by Eric Whitaker. I mean, not Eric Whitaker, by Stuart.
Sides, yeah, but it's not the
But
same.
do you know what this is?
You
This
may
is
well have
like
printed
brown
out.
paper.
You may have printed out the ladies' key version, not the mixed key version. So if you go back in the folder, there's one that's called mixed key. That's the one we're working from. I should have probably taken out the ladies' key version. I initially worked from the ladies' key and just moved it a few notes down, but Stuart very nicely sent me the mixed key version in B flat. So don't worry, it's the same song, but it's just in a completely different key, about 4 or 5 notes higher.
Yeah, I was like so lost. I'm like, wait a minute, these aren't the same notes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank
so
you.
No worries at all. That's absolutely fine. That's my fault for not having taken the score out. I will move it to somewhere else so it doesn't confuse anyone else. Marissa.
Hi, Simon.
Hello.
My question is, well, I am Spanish, and the idea is, of course, to sing Silent Night in Spanish. And the thing is that the way it is phrased in Spanish just doesn't fit the phrasing in English. Right?
Yeah.
Sometimes the words are cut. So what should we do about that?
I would say that probably if it doesn't fit very well, we will have to find a way of trying our best. So possibly we can maybe have a chat and maybe have a little bit of a plan and maybe have a listen, or maybe if someone who's doing the Spanish can actually maybe try and sing the melody in Spanish so we can kind of hear it, and then we can see how it might track over the main track, if that makes sense. So I think it will be a little bit of doing our best of fitting it over, and if it doesn't work particularly well, we'll do our best to try and make it work as well as it can.
Yeah, because basically the idea is some words get broken.
Yeah. I think what we'll do is we'll probably if people are doing who are doing the Spanish version or any other language, if there's parts where we're going to need to do something about that, we'll have to look at what timing we give to those words. And in the session when we teach it, the native speakers, yourself or whoever else is taking that Spanish session, the idea is we just do our best to make sure that the people singing that will kind of get the best phrasing that they can. Understanding probably what we'll put a little disclaimer out when we do this, when we play the performance, that obviously some of these languages don't necessarily lend themselves to the phrasing we've got here, and it will be as close as we can make it.
Thank you very much.
No worries. Just looking for any other hands, folks. Looking for any other hands. Jeannie Soprano. You're on mute.
Darn it. Will the languages be recorded so we can go in and practice?
Yes. Yeah, all the language sessions will be recorded and they'll be put up in a folder called Silent Night Languages within the main Silent Night rehearsal video folder. So yes, they will all be recorded so you can then be like rehearsing if you can't make that rehearsal, or if you just want a little bit of a refresher to go through and have a little bit of a practice. So yeah, that's absolutely, yes, they'll all be recorded. Any others, folks? I think we're about there on the questions. I'm just checking for anyone else. I think we've covered all of your lovely questions. Okay, folks, I'm just pressing stop on my record for the moment. Okay, so I'm just gonna do a couple of things before we finish. The order of priority in songs, just so if you're kind of sitting there going, wow, there's 5 songs and there's different languages, and how am I supposed to do all of this? One of our kind of mantras, it's mainly with music team, but it's also for you, is you do what you can when you can. Okay, so we've had many things that we've kept on to make sure that we're not expecting too much of people. The order of priority is In the Bleak Midwinter, I think, is a song that everybody should be able in the collective to do. It's nice and accessible, and we would like everybody to do that. We would like all of you to try and do Silent Night in English. Okay, the version that we have. If you end up listening and you struggle, or it's a little bit difficult, we'd like you to try. We'd like you to try and come to rehearsals for that, because that is a song that only the collective are singing. Those 2 songs, they're not open to anyone who isn't in the collective. Obviously, they'd have to join the collective if they wanted to sing those songs, but they're just songs for us. Okay, those two songs. So they're our first two priorities. Priority number 3 is Happy Christmas, War is Over. Okay, Happy Christmas, War is Over is the finale song of the entire concert. Okay, the finale song of the entire concert. And again, I would say that it's maybe a little bit more difficult than In the Bleak Midwinter, but not very much. It's not a difficult sing. It's quite a fun sing. There's a score for it, and it's nice and self-explanatory, I would probably say. That's our final finale. We would love all of you to do that if you can. So there's the 3 first priorities. And then we have the other 2 songs. The Christmas song, which is in ladies' key, O Magnum Mysterium, which is in men's key. That does not mean that only ladies can sing the Christmas song and only gents can sing O Magnum Mysterium. There is, as ever, the ability for you to be able to sing any part you want in the octave it is written. So there isn't in those 2 songs any octave jumping allowed. But those 2 songs are open to any of the groups who are involved in the concert and all of you. So we would love you. You might listen to the Christmas song and it's kind of a different style. It's quite upbeat. It's quite kind of jazzy and full on. You might listen to that and go, oh yeah, I'd love to learn that. And we'd love you to learn that. It may be that you listen to that and go, oh, I might not do that one. But you may listen to O Magnum Mysterium and go, that's gorgeous. I want to sing that. And that's, again, perfectly fine. You do not have to sing all 5 of the songs, but the order of priority would definitely be Bleak Midwinter, Silent Night, The Happy Christmas, War is Over, and then the other 2 songs would be 4th and 5th. It's not saying you can. That's not saying that you have to put a track in for Silent Night to be able to be allowed to turn up to rehearsals for O Magnum Mysterium. Definitely not that. But it's just kind of letting you know kind of where I see the kind of priorities lying as far as us as a collective. We want to make sure our 2 songs are really well attended and we try and get as many of your lovely voices and faces in for those 2 songs. Okay, there will be rehearsals for all 5 songs. We're looking at those at the moment. The app's going to have all these rehearsals on them. For week 1, that's starting on Tuesday, we are not rehearsing Silent Night for that week. We are rehearsing In the Bleak Midwinter so that we can actually really get some good work done on Bleak Midwinter. And we can almost, some of you, and someone put a question, when will submissions for In the Bleak Midwinter open up? I'm actually going to have a submission form opening up probably from the first day of In the Bleak Midwinter. Because actually, for some of you, you may well know that you have time in a week and you actually get to a point where actually you're quite confident. You think, yeah, oh, awesome, I've got that one done. And then you go and spend your time working on another song. I'm absolutely fine with that. There's no feedbacks this time because with 5 songs and only like 4 weeks, we do not have the man and woman power to do feedback on all those songs and get it back and run multiple phases. So submissions will be from any time from the beginning. And that means if you know you've got some time, you can put the time in, get Bleak Midwinter done, and then you can then do another song, do another song, do another song, and you can then work through in that way. Or you can just spend your time. The final deadlines on Bleak Midwinter isn't until I think the 2nd or 3rd of December. So actually you have just under a month to be able to get it done. But some of you may be significantly quicker than that because you might want to work on those additional songs. And actually then knowing you've already got one in the bank is always a good feeling to know you can put your time into the other songs. Hopefully that all makes sense, folks. So there'll be continuing to be information. There'll be videos that get sent out, little videos that I do where I explain things or common misconceptions or questions that people have, and I generally do that. A lot of those videos are just based on what the music team tell me or the music team questions. They're saying lots of people are asking about this, and I can then do something where you can kind of find out what you need to know. Is that all cool? Excellent. So I'm going to say that this session I'm going to stop the live stream. So goodbye Facebook.